Hey, what's up guys, I'm Lincoln and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the 5th video in the FlutterFlow for Beginners series. We're halfway through. By now you can comfortably create an app page. You're comfortable with adding widgets and creating cool layouts. In this video we're going to make our app even more powerful by connecting a database, retrieving some data, and adding authentication. If you enjoyed these videos, then hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you never miss a single upload. Earlier this week, I posted a screenshot of a platform I'm working on where you can get FlutterFlow templates and start shipping out apps faster. You can go check it out on fluttervault.online. I'll be uploading templates frequently, so stay tuned and grow with the community. Alright, let's connect the database to our app. If you'd like to follow along but do not have this app already, then don't worry, you can just go to the link in my description and you can find a link where you can clone this app. So the first thing to do is head on over to supabase.com to create your account. If you've got an account already, you can just skip this. So let's go ahead and start your project. We'll go to sign up now, enter my email, enter my password, and sign up. Now, Supabase wants you to confirm your email before you continue, so I'll just go on over to Gmail, find the email, confirm email address. Now they want me to log in again. I'll just close up everything here. Refresh my page, and I'll create a new project. We'll call this project FlutterFlow for Beginners. Enter my password, create new project. Just save that, close that. Okay, now it's setting up our project. Takes a bit of time, so I'll just fast forward this. Now what you want to do is go to settings, project settings, go to API. You'll copy this project URL, go back to FlutterFlow, we'll go to settings, look for Supabase, and enable Supabase. Now we'll paste the URL that we've just copied now, and then we'll copy this anon key, paste it in our anon key. That should take away the errors. Errors gone. We'll get schema, but right now we don't have anything, so we'll just leave it like that. Then we'll go back. So now I want to show you one of my favorite things about Supabase, and that's the use of spreadsheets. So I'll just create a spreadsheet that we're going to use to import data later on in the app. So this is how I usually do it. I'll just make it go faster. You can get the spreadsheet from the link in my description. I'll get all the information from these places that we're going to later use. We'll come back and paste those image URLs later. Download the CSV. Go back to Supabase. And I will start creating some tables. So I'll show you how to create tables and work with tables. So the first table we're going to create is a users table, which we're going to use for authentication. We'll disable row level security for this. So what you want to do is create a relation to your ID that will be the same as the one in your authenticated users table. And you will see why this is useful later. So first of all, you have to change the type, the data type. Select the UID. Click on this foreign link icon. Select the schema, and we're looking for authentication. Select the table. We're looking for the users table. And now it wants us to select actions if the reference row is updated or deleted. Right now, if the user deletes their account, this table that we're creating here will just remain in the database, and we don't want that. So we wanted to cascade, which means that if the user deletes their account, then this account will also be deleted. So we'll just select cascade for both of them. Next, we'll add some columns. We don't want too much data from our users. We'll just keep it simple, and we'll just collect their email so that they can sign up and create an account. And the data type for this will be text. We'll go ahead and save that. And now we have our users table. We're going to create another table for our places. We're going to disable row level security again, confirm. And for this one, we're going to have quite a bit more data. We're going to have the name, which is type text. We're going to have an image URL, which is also type text. I'm going to use type text for most of these. Next, we have location, which is also type text. Next, we're going to have our rating, which is also type text. Next up, we have is top place. So this is a question asking if this place is a top place or not. And for this, we use a Boolean, which accepts true or false values. And that allows us to do some pretty cool stuff with our data in FlutterFlow. So we're going to create a table. Cool. We now have two tables. Next up, I'm going to show you how to use storage. And Supabase uses buckets for storage. And we're just going to go ahead and create our first bucket. We'll call this bucket FlutterFlow for beginners. And we'll make it a public bucket. We'll save this bucket. There's our bucket. So up next, we're going to create a folder where we're going to upload our assets. We'll call this places images. And in this folder, I'm going to drag and drop my places images. That should not be there, but we'll leave it as fine. Cool, all done. Next, I'm going to copy this URL. You can also click on the file and get URL there. I'll go back to my tables, go to my places table, and I'll insert a row. I'll skip the ID and create an ad for now. I'll get the name from my spreadsheet. I will get the image URL. Get the location. Get the rating. And I can just change the Boolean here, false. I'm setting it to false because in our app, it's not one of the top places. You'll see why that's important later. So there we go. We've added our first row or item or place in our case into our table. I don't enjoy doing this because it's very manual, and that's why I love CSVs. So let me show you how easily you can work with CSVs and import data so you can start using it in your FlutterFlow app. Then I'll import data via CSV. Open my folder where I have my CSV, drag and drop it. There we go. We have our data from our Google Sheets, import data, and we have our data. Now we can start working with this data. Cool. We'll go back to FlutterFlow, and the first thing we're going to do is delete some of these containers from our list views. Let's make sure we get the container and delete it. So next, we're going to connect our tables to these list views and start displaying our data. We're going to select this list view, go to Backend Query. We'll add a Backend Query. Oh, first of all, we need to get schema. And the schema displays all the tables that we've created in Supabase. Nice. So we'll now add our Backend Query. Query type is Supabase query. Which table do we want here? We want the places table. And we want list of rows. That's correct. But we're going to add a filter. Remember the top places that we added? These places on top are not top places. So we're going to select the top place to be the filter, the field name. And then the relation will be equal to false. So the places that are not top places are going to appear in this list view. So FlutterFlow is going to ask us if we're sure about our decision, and we are. And it's going to show these ghost containers or ghost items depending on what type of data your list view is displaying. So I'm just going to close that and let's start working with this data. So we're going to start connecting the fields that we had in our tables to our layout. We'll select the image, and if you remember from the last video, our images came from assets. So now we're not going to use assets. So I will change the image type to network, and then it's going to ask us for the path. So we're going to click on this little icon here, which lets us set the variable. So we're going to go to our places row and we'll select the image URL. We're going to click on the name text. We're going to click on the icon again for variables. We'll go to our places row. We'll select the name. There we go. We'll then go to our location. Click on the icon, go to our places row, select location. We'll now get the rating. Go to our places row and get the rating. Now the app knows that all this information will be coming from our Supabase table, from our database that we've created. So we'll just go ahead and do the same for the other list view. Add a backend query, Supabase query. Our table is still places. We're looking for list of rows, and this time we're adding a filter, but the opposite this time. We want its top place to be equal to true. And then we'll confirm that. We'll need to confirm that again. There we go. And then we'll do the same as we did in the other list view. We'll change the image type to network. We'll get the variable, which is the image URL. We'll select the name, click on the icon, go to the places row, get the name. We'll select location, go to our table, get the location. We'll get our rating, go to the places row, get our rating. Now this should not be like this, so I'll just change that. Okay, cool. So now we can go ahead and test our app to see if everything is working properly. We'll test it. It's not that fast, trust me. So here we go. All our data from the backend is displaying properly. We're now seeing everything that we need to see without manually writing out everything ourselves. I need to fix that. So next up, we're going to add authentication to our app. So we'll need to go back to Supabase. We'll go to Authentication. We'll go to Providers and go to Email. Email is already enabled by default. So we'll go ahead and uncheck these and then we'll hit Save. Cool. Now you can start accepting authentication in your FlutterFlow app. All right, we'll go back to our app, go to Settings, look for Authentication and enable Authentication. Authentication type is Supabase. Our entry page, we don't have one already. So we'll go to our logged in page. That's our home page. And let's go and create an authentication page. We'll look for a template. This one should be fine. Go ahead and change that to authentication. Create page. And there we go. With a bunch of errors. I'll remove that. Change this to travel app. And let's start by getting rid of all these errors. So I'll just delete all the actions for now so that I can show you guys how to set it up for yourselves. Remove that. Remove that. Just deleting all the actions here. something left. What is it? Oh yeah, get rid of that. And then the last thing. Now we have an authentication page, and that should get rid of all the errors. There we go. Go back to our page and let's start setting this up. So we'll click on our get started button first of all, and this is just a personal preference. I don't like autofocus, so I'll just remove that. Remove autofocus. You don't have to do this. It's just a personal preference. Remove that. Okay, cool. Let's go back to create account. Let's get started. Let's click on the button, go to actions, open. Let's add an action. This error again, we'll just refresh the page. Okay, great. Now, get started. Can we get started? We'll click on actions, open. We'll search Supabase and create account. Now the provider will be email because that's what we enabled. We'll look for the email field and we just have one, but as far as I know, we have two of them. So when you use templates, just be careful with that. I like to label everything properly just so that I know what's what. So for the get started, I like to say email create and password create. So for the create account, I like to call those email create and password create. So for login, I'll just go with email. And for the password, I'll just leave it as password. Okay, cool. So let's try this again. Email field, email create. Password field, password create. And then we're going to add another action. Add an action. We'll look for Supabase again. I will insert a row. And then it'll ask me which table I want, its users. And then we'll add the fields. Now remember, we just wanted the email, but we have to use the ID also. And here's where we get the ID. So you'll click on the ID field, click on this little icon here, go and look for the authenticated user because now we have an authenticated user. And we'll select that user's ID. Cool. And then we'll get the email, which will also be a variable. That variable is a widget state. And that widget is email create. Okay, cool. We'll just close that. Head to login. Click on the sign in button. Go to actions. Add an action. We'll search again for Supabase. Authentication, login. We'll select the provider, which is email. Email field will be email. Password field will be password. And there we have it. Now just one more step before authentication, and that is to allow users to insert a row into this table. And to do that, we have to create policies. So we'll view policies. We have no policies, so we'll create a new one, new policy. We'll go for full customization. Now this is just for demonstration purposes. So we'll give it a name. I'll call it all access. Allowed operations will be all, and I'll leave the target roles. I'll add my two expressions. I'll make them true so that they can create an account. Review, and I'll save my policy. Cool. We can now successfully create accounts within our FlutterFlow app. So let's go back to our app. And I'll show you guys another authentication action. We'll add action, add an action. We'll search again for Supabase and log out. That's simple. So now your users can access the app and leave the app. Let's see if that works. We'll have a new session. Again, it's not that fast. And we'll see if it works. I got a hint. I will get a password, get started. And I have access to the app. So there you have it. You've successfully created and connected a database to your FlutterFlow app. You can now store and retrieve data. You can upload assets to your database, and you can do that all with a free account thanks to FlutterFlow and Supabase. If you enjoyed this video, then leave a like and let me know what you thought in the comment section. Don't forget to check out Flutter Vault at fluttervault.online. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.